One of the more rewarding things that I have at Lakes and Legends is sitting back and watching people come into our space, order one of our beers, and then sit down and enjoy it together, whether that's one-on-one or in a larger group.
I was contacted about doing some ice sculptures for a local pond hockey tournament. They wanted a life-size ice skater frozen into a block of ice. The sculpture was right outside the XL Energy Center, and the number of people who were looking at the sculpture and kind of interacting with the sculpture was pretty amazing to see. Like, that's kind of when I knew that I had it. And this was kind of the first time that I didn't have like any help. Like, it was all me, it was all on my shoulders, and it was a big job.
I got emailed literally a napkin drawing of a bike park asking for my feedback. We were able to get some big excavators and a big old bulldozer. The cool thing was, it's kind of like, hey, here's the keys. It's not like there's anyone out there. So it's just this big empty field. So it's literally like a start from scratch, do whatever you want to do. And so they kind of gave me free rein, and we built the Cottage Grove 4-cross track. Right now, that is the only bike park in the Twin Cities metro area.
When I first got approached with some really big projects that honestly kind of blew my mind, like getting the opportunity to bid on something that's this massive Fortune 100 company and thinking, I'm by myself, I don't know if I can do this. Having that problem was kind of a blessing in disguise. The process of saying yes to projects as they grow makes you think, how do I connect the dot from what I do to what somebody else can do? And then you pull it together and you create a really strong collaboration. That's how the team that I've built has formed.
Photography is all about perspective. The most impactful images, unfortunately, are when the camera just can't be there. And we've solved some of those problems, and I think that's attributed to our success a little bit. It was challenging times for sure to try to figure out what that perspective should be and figure out how to get the camera there.
One of the beers that we're taking a risk on is our new 5-weight cream ale. It's a play off of a fishing pole. If you only have one, it better be a 5-weight because it can pretty much do it all. At a time when our industry is doubling the hops, doubling the fruit, doubling the flavors that go into beer, we're taking it the opposite direction and delivering the lightest, cleanest, crispest craft beer that the state of Minnesota has ever seen. Given that it's made with Minnesota-grown grain, I think it's the future of our company in a lot of ways, and I'm excited to take that to market.
The biggest project we've worked on is Grand Rapids. The reason it's the biggest project is it's 90 miles of single track across the Iron Range of Minnesota. And the idea is to create a destination mountain bike center within a season and a half.
The biggest project that I got to work on to date was to be a part of the bid committee for the Super Bowl that was held in Minnesota. I was surrounded by community leaders that all came together to put a package to basically sell the concept of the Super Bowl in Minneapolis to the owners of the NFL.
I was contracted to decorate the entire landscape of the pond hockey event. So with a project of this size and this scope, there's a lot of logistics that you have to figure out. It was just kind of a mad dash for 72 hours. I would carve like a maniac for 14, 16 hours a day, go home, get a couple hours of sleep, come back, do it all again. And it just made for a very tough couple of days working outside in sub-zero temperatures with a very tight timeline. It forces you to step up.
In the real world, the only way to get a running front 3/4 photograph or video is from a helicopter. Until we broke the rules, we built a winged platform photo boat, and now all of a sudden we could move along at the same speed as the subject boat. We had lots of opportunities that we never would have gotten from a full-size helicopter, not to mention the cost advantages and the time savings.
We put so much effort into bidding on this one event, and then winning it was like this weight lifting off your shoulders, being like, we actually did it, we climbed this mountain. I think it was much more rewarding than just a personal reward. It was knowing that this is gonna be an awesome event for everybody. I was so ingrained in it, knowing what was gonna happen locally and hearing about like how communities have changed when Super Bowls come to town. It was a really proud moment.
I'm all in, my family's all in. I think one of my favorite parts about Lakes and Legends is the connection that it has to Minnesota. Not only our namesake and the logo, but the sense of community that we bring in our tap room and the people that we engage with, get to work with, and ultimately help us bring it all together every single day.
I want to leave a legacy. So like when I'm done and gone, to be able to say that my kids' kids are riding those trails 100 years from now, which is possible, I think is awesome.